What's up, everybody? Coming at you from Cigars and Brawls. It's almost D-Day. It's T-1 day. We got UFC 94 kicking off tomorrow night in Abu Dhabi. And there's been a major mix-up on the main fight card. The co-main event was previously set to have Khamzat Chimaev go up against Paulo Costa. Paulo pulled out of the fight. He injured his elbow. He's out. And in his place, we have Kamaru Usman. What was previously an absolute banger is now an even better fight. And in the main event, we had Islam against Charles Oliveira for the second time. I really had Islam winning that fight, and now Charles pulls out. He cuts his himself above his eye. He can't fight no longer. And they're doing Islam Volk Part 2. So if it was an incredible fight card before, it's even better right now. And I'm going to share my thoughts on both the main event and the co-main. I don't know what's going to happen in the co-main event. We've got Kamaru Usman moving up to middleweight, former welterweight champion, and this guy has been involved in 5 round fights for God knows how long. All he does is get into championship fights. And he's doing the same thing up at middleweight, but he's up against a guy that is riding an incredible wave of momentum, a guy that's trailblazed through the UFC and is in all his fights. Only had one fight where he was really challenged, and this is going to be such a good fight. Both guys have an incredibly strong wrestling background. Both are good strikers. I mean, anything can happen in this fight. It could play out like Kamaru against Colby, where they don't really go for the wrestling. It's just a stand-up fight because, I mean, their wrestling cancels each other out. Or Hamzat could try to prove that he's the better wrestler and force the takedown, force the fight, force to take the fight to the ground. I personally think Kamaru's, despite being one of the best fighters of all time, he's on the wane. The guy's in his mid to late 30s. He's just come off back-to-back losses, and one of them was a really bad KO. And he has knee issues. And on the other side, Hamzat just looks undefeatable at the moment. And he seems fresh and strong at middleweight. I don't know how um, I don't know how Usman's gonna perform at middleweight. It's arguably his first fight there. I don't know if he's fought there before. Not in the UFC though. I'm giving that fight to Hamzat, although I'm not sure if he's gonna knock him out on the feet or take him down and beat him up on the ground. But that fight, my bet is with Khamzat. Moving on to the main event, Islam Volk 2. What a treat. I mean, the first fight exceeded expectations. I honestly thought Volk was too Volk was too small. He's a featherweight champ, goes up to lightweight and shows that he's a true champion and really gave Islam a run for his money. I mean, some people thought Alexander won the fight. I thought it was 3-2 to Islam. Although this time around, and I have to mention, both Kamaru Usman and Alexander Volkanovski are coming in on short notice. I think they accepted the fight 12 days out. I think this time it's in Islam's backyard. It's in Abu Dhabi. He has the fans backing him up. And so, thing is, I think in the first fight, Volk fought perfectly. I don't think there's anything else he can do that he didn't do in the first fight. On the flip side, I think Islam underestimated Volkanovski, and I think he's much more prepared this time around. I'm going for an Islam Makhachev finish. I don't know if Volk can perform any better. He's coming in on short notice. I have no clue how this fight's going to end, although if you were to ask If I were to bet, I'd say it's going to the ground and he's going to get a finish. I think Volk said it himself. He said he respected Islam too much in the first fight. He's going to go for it this fight, and that means he's going to leave himself in vulnerable positions. He particularly referenced the third round where Islam had him had a back take basically. He didn't do much with the back take. He was just there in position for like 3 4 minutes. Didn't get any damage in, and the whole time Volk was talking to him, screaming, you know, trying to force the fight. So Volk says that if he's in a similar position this time around, he's gonna go for it. He's gonna try and reverse the position, but that means he's gonna leave himself vulnerable. I think Islam's gonna get the submission win, and I cannot wait. One more sleep, and we are in for an absolute treat. We're gonna cover the fight after the fact, my buddy and I, and until then, cheers.
Fight!